What is the reason behind why space-time came into existence? This is the age-old question of creation. Why did anything come into existence? Okay, to begin with. Now, what allows us to ask this question? What allows us to ask this question is the very fact that science tells us that material space-time came into existence. Otherwise, if space-time had always existed, we wouldn't be asking this question. So science allows us to ask the question, why did space-time in the Big Bang, you know how they say, before the Big Bang there was no material space-time. And since all of reality is described by the matter that it's made out of, we know that material space-time came into existence. So what needed to exist in order for space-time to have came into existence? We know that whatever needed to exist to spark the Big Bang, okay, needed to have always existed, needed to be eternal. And this eternal being, whatever it may be, needed to be able to decide to cause space-time into being. So when there is no space-time, what do we have? If we have no material space-time, we have absolute nothingness, okay? This means there is no time, at least based on matter, okay? Because we don't know if there is primordial time or absolute time, in other words, because it wouldn't be based on matter. So we don't know there's an absolute time, okay? But there, to say that material space-time came into existence, there needed to exist something that always existed, that is eternal, that is independent of material space-time. So it needed to exist in some form of absolute space-time. And this is what we call the uncaused, unmoved mover. Okay, because it hasn't been unmoved. It's not what's being moved. It's what causes the moving. It's what causes every other cause in the universe that led up to this point in time. Okay. So this is what the argument from creation. The uncaused, unmoved mover. The one who moves things. Okay, it's not moved by anything else. Otherwise, if we do not have such an eternal entity, then we're led to an assumption of infinite regressions, infinite causes, okay, that continue on forever. And as we could see, based on what we do see of material space-time, is that everything did have a cause. Things couldn't have continued in causation because of theories like the heat death, where entropy reaches a maximal point, where thermodynamics comes into play and all of heat dies out. All the heat in the universe, from a fireplace to the gases that form the sun, all the heat in this entire universe, no matter how big it is, will die out one day. Okay, and that's why we know that the sun has an age. The universe as a whole has an age. Okay, it hasn't always existed. We see that the universe is expanding at a much faster rate, okay, than previously predicted. To throw out theories like the Big Bounce, for example, which says that the universe will eventually, contract. It'll expand, and then it'll slow down as it expands to contract. Okay, but we don't see that. The very fact that the universe is actually expanding without any signs of decreasing, and it's just actually increasing in the rate that it is expanding, proves that the Big Bounce is a hoax. The contraction, the idea of the universe contracting, is a hoax. Okay, so the other theory is that the universe will split itself apart. It'll destroy itself, making an empty void. And that's also proof, or a theory that proves that this universe isn't eternal, isn't infinite. Okay, it isn't infinite. Now, when it comes to the second law of thermodynamics, which basically, the most elementary way to put it, says that matter is neither created or destroyed, it's talking about the system itself, the universe itself, the way it is at this very moment in time. Okay, all the matter that we see, whenever the fire, for example, in my examples before, when the fire burns out, the ashes or whatever remains of that fire is still there. Okay, the fire is heat, but whatever it burns up, the matter, it just diverts into a more random state of entropy. So it's a chemical change. It's a mere chemical change. It's not going anywhere. Matter still remains. But before the Big Bang, we cannot say the same. Okay, we cannot say the same for what was before the system of space-time came into existence. We're talking about a time when the laws of thermodynamics, when the laws of physics break down. Okay, when the laws that we refer to, they actually break down because they're no longer applicable. All right. So be ready for part 2 of this segment, because I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of critics and people who try to criticize the facts that I present here. All right. But prepare for a part 2 of this segment, and you have a blessed day.